I love games, especially card games. What makes card games so fascinating is that every game of the thousands of games you can play with cards usually involve three key factors. The first key is luck. No matter what skill level you have, the way the cards are dealt is more or less a matter of chance. Even professional card counters can tell you that sometimes things don't play out the way they expect. There's a miscalculation, a simple dealing error, or a card you are expecting to be further down the deck, unfortunately, shows up near the top. Luck is always a factor in these games, and in many games, not most, just many. It is the chief factor. This is not something that can be combated, but you can mitigate the damage with the second key, which happens to be strategy. Poker, rummy, blackjack. These all at first appear to be simple games of chance. But when you've played long enough, you develop your own style. Are you aggressive, accepting losses in order to get the big payout in the end? Or are you conservative, not surrendering stable footing for an uncertain and potentially pricey risk? Each game calls for a different strategy, and this is often dictated by your opponent. Which brings us to the final key: your ability to bluff, fake it, act, or more bluntly put, blow smoke up people's asses. Any poker player knows this to be true. You're not playing the cards. You're playing the opponent. Every day in Vegas, there is some ballsy contender, or often more, some stoic dealer, who is winning the pot on crap hands by the power of sheer psychological warfare. Don't believe me? Look up Jack Straus, the man who pulled off one of the greatest poker bluffs of all time. The guy convinced his opponent to give up a fortune in a Texas Hold'em match because he convinced his opponent that he had a pocket pair, when in reality, he had the worst hand you can get in a game. Fucking brilliant. Here's another game you can play. Stumbled across it completely by chance. Doesn't really have a name, however most refer to it as the wager game. You have to understand the circumstances around what I intend to tell you. I'm going to provide details of how the game is played. However, I strongly urge you not to play this game. If you do, remember the three keys I mentioned at the beginning. They are absolute pinnacles of the game. You need a standard deck of 52 cards. Be damned sure you remove the jokers before you start playing. If it were me, though it doesn't explicitly state this anywhere in the ritual, I would make sure the jokers, as well as any other decks of cards you might have, are as far away from where you intend to play as possible. I can't say for certain, but I suspect they like to cheat. You can play on any surface, but a table is preferred. You want to make sure that an area is clear of obstructions and that you can deal the cards efficiently without them sliding all over the place. No food, no drink. It's not a fucking party. Having these present is usually seen as an insult, and I'm not certain what would happen. The great thing about this ritual, if you can call it great, is that there really isn't that much to set up. No arcane chanting, no laundry list of supplies. All you need is your deck of cards and a big set of balls. When you're ready to play, you need to turn off any unnecessary lights. You should be able to see the card faces, of course, but just barely. Candlelight is good, but preferably something that can't be easily overpowered, like a flashlight or a cell phone with a full battery. Other than that, dark. Set the deck of cards in front of you, between you and the spot where he will be playing. I should probably mention that if the spot is in any way obstructed, he won't show up. Don't worry, he won't pop out of the walls and drag you to hell or something like that. He just won't appear. Make sure your guest can comfortably sit. If you're sitting at a table, leave a chair for him. If you're on the floor, not recommended. Make sure there's an equal amount of space for him to sit as you. Use your judgment for the best results. The game is played as follows. You are playing with the spirit. There won't be a flash of light or spectral whispering to indicate that your guest has arrived. You'll just know when he's there. If you do hear something, turn the lights on and get the hell out of there. Do not attempt to play the game again in the same spot. You see, that's the tricky thing. You never really know who your opponent is going to be. Some opponents will play fair. Others will do anything to you in order to win. You don't want to play with a hostile opponent. You just won't win. Once your docile guest has arrived, you deal each other 3 cards. Do not look at your guest's cards. Do not cheat. Deal them face down. Your guest will know what cards he has to play. From this point, the game becomes rather subjective. The source didn't exactly explain step-by-step rules. There's no scoring. There's just betting. You are betting things precious to you against the spirit, and the spirit is in turn betting something you want. When playing any game, you want to know what's at stake, don't you? You see, this game, like many other means of communicating with ethereal entities, is supposed to give you, primarily, knowledge. This version requires less setup, but it becomes a challenging battle of wits. So, beware. You don't have any knowledge that the spirit doesn't, so you don't have anything to wager in that category. What you are wagering is a variety of lovely punishments, which are revealed by the turn of the card. It could be something as simple as destroying a treasured possession to as horrible as committing horrible acts of violence. If you're lucky, you'll only destroy your own life. You begin by playing one of your 3 cards. You choose the card from your hand. I'll explain what the cards do at the end, but suffice to say, your guest always has the advantage of reaction. However, both of you can only play from the cards you have in front of you. When the exchange is over, deal him a card first. It's common courtesy. And then deal yourself one. Neither side should ever have more than 3 cards in front of them. discard used cards in a pile to the side of the deck. Now, I imagine you're wondering, how does he select his card? It all depends upon your opponent. Some simply move the card closer to you. Some might whisper the answer in your ear in a voice you could swear was your own imagination. Some might just hand you the card. But if your opponent is ever that forward, I strongly suggest you stop playing immediately. Which brings us to the ending, the ritual. Another great thing about this ritual is that you can quit whenever you want. Simply turn the remaining cards in the deck, if you have any, face up, and then turn the lights on. You should remain safe, though your experience in the game will give you a better idea of that. If you don't feel safe, leave the place you played and don't come back for a few days. Usually the spirit will have moved on at that point. Now I'll explain what the cards do. There are a few exceptions, which I'll note at the end. In the main, here's what the cards do. The suits don't matter. Aces are your best friend. These act as protection against whatever the spirit wants you to do. Just be cautious about using these. Remember, you go first, and the spirit will, if they are able to, use a weaker punishment in retaliation. Unfortunately, aces are also the spirit's best friend. When they select an ace, you must turn over the other two cards and perform their actions without any chance to block, even if you have an ace in your hand. Deal the spirit 3 new cards after these are performed. In the unlikely event that 2 aces meet, neither party is obligated to do anything. You can use this move to determine the friendliness of your spirit opponent, as it is a rather selfless thing for the spirit to do, but remember, it could be a bluff. Deuces through 10 can be viewed as severity. For you, it refers to the level of information you can ask. Again, like I say, this is greatly subjective, and much more is revealed about the nature of the game by playing it yourself. But for instance, if you play a deuce, don't go asking for winning lottery numbers. If you're wondering, I wouldn't bother asking with anything less than an 8. With a deuce, you can pretty much ask the spirit what tomorrow's weather will be. For the spirit, if you may have guessed, it refers to pain. A deuce would be equivalent to pricking yourself with a needle. A 10 would be pouring burning oil down your back. But don't worry, you don't have to perform the violent action on yourself. You see, the reason the spirit plays the game is not just to cause you torment, but to see what kind of player you are. If you would do these actions to another, well, they rather enjoy that. Emotional damage is also acceptable, but again, use your judgment. This is just an example, but a deuce would be tearing up a photo of a deceased loved one, and a 10 would be disowning your children. Some spirits prefer this to physical pain, but trust me, those are the ones you have to watch out for. A bit of strategy. In my experience playing the game, I found that most spirits, even hostile ones, have a bit of honor code about this. If they are able to they will match you number for number. Occasionally, they are one higher or lower, but essentially, they try to make it worth your while. Make the answer you want equivalent to the damage you have to cause, you see. Of course, if you find that a spirit plays a low number card on a high number card, question, maybe you're better off not knowing the answer. A final note before I move on. Spirits cannot lie about the answers they give you. They may be mistaken if you ask something a bit out of their knowledge, but are generally bound to answer as truthfully as possible. They can bluff the cards, but they cannot bluff the answers they give. Jacks are prank cards. No, this isn't as fun as it sounds. This is a card where even if you draw it, you lose something. When either you or the spirit plays the card, the spirit plays a prank on you. If the spirit is benign, something might go missing or turn up in an odd place. That's about the best you can hope for. If the spirit is malignant, then you are going to get the piss scared out of you. The spirit can take any number of monstrous forms, perform almost any unspeakable act, with the exception of physically harming you. But trust me, that limitation only makes them more hell-bent on getting you. The worst part, they don't have to do this right away. They can wait for later, even after the ritual is over, and don't think about trying to use any protective rituals. They won't work. But remember, they can't physically hurt you, so at least there's that. Queens are universally the worst cards that can be played. Honestly, if a queen is dealt, your best bet is to stop playing and leave. And I don't mean go to a neighbor's or something like that. I mean, get as far away as you possibly can. This is, mind you, if the spirit plays the card. If you play the card, the queen acts as a throwaway card. Be glad you drew it and not the spirit, but it does nothing. It essentially gives the spirit a free pass to do whatever they want. You might not think to play it, and that's your right, but hoarding queen cards is also potentially problematic. I'll explain why in one of the exceptions. What the queen actually does when a spirit plays it is break the boundary between you. The spirit now has license to harm you, haunt you, follow you to the ends of the earth. Your best bet is trying to get a head start, but I can't guarantee that will work. Kings are free passes. Not much to say here. If you play a king card, you can play another card uninterrupted by the spirit. And the spirit can do the same to you if they play it. An ideal strategy for those seeking information is to pair a king with a 10 and play them together. This will guarantee you get whatever burning question answered, and then you can simply stop playing. However, I recommend you don't do this on your first move if you are lucky enough. Not letting the spirit play will likely anger them, and again, I'm not certain what could happen. Now here are the exceptions. First, there's the 2 of clubs. If you play hearts, you recognize this as the starting card. Playing this is beneficial, especially if you play during the beginning. The response card will not be an action you have to do yourself, but with a truthful assessment of your opponent. If they respond with a low number, they are a benign entity. If they respond with a higher card, well, that's unfortunate. When the spirit plays this card, it functions as a normal deuce. Next is the Suicide King. This is unpleasant. Not the worst card, arguably, but not pleasant. This card is murder. If you play it, it merely functions as a free pass. But when the spirit plays it, you are obligated to either murder someone or commit suicide. Again, the choice is yours. This is a horrible affair, of course, but some spirits, generally benign spirits, will accept a tribute in place of an actual murder. But it will be something painful, horrible beyond anything you might do with an ordinary 10. It will be something that will cripple you for life. And yes, if you opt out of the murder, you must perform this tribute to yourself. Finally, the Queen of Spades, the ultimate chance card. If you play it, turn over all your opponent's cards. If they do have a queen, you simply discard these cards, redeal, and move on. If they don't have a queen, then you'd better start running. Don't bother ending the ritual. Run, because you've given the spirit the power of a queen and done so willingly. And if you're caught by the spirit, well, you can imagine. Suffice to say, nobody is going to find you. It's at this point I should warn you that reneging on something that the spirit has played, refusing to follow through with the torment or murder that was ordered, has this effect. If you lost a wager, cut your losses. If the spirit plays the card, the same effect happens, but the results are opposite. If you weren't hanging on to any queens, then praise whatever entity you worship, because you are free from the effects of the queen and you can continue playing in safety. If you were, however, hoarding queens because you didn't want to play them and leave yourself exposed, don't bother running. You've already lost everything. The realm in which you will spend the rest of your days is supposed to make hell look hospitable. Good luck.